Hi Tubies, here's Alexandra again, and today we want to paint this wraith. And as you can see, I've already primed him in black, and we will start right now. First thing first, well, this time I will use my airbrush. This is a Paintix 200 top loader airbrush. Yeah, and let's dive right into it, shall we? First, we have to mix up the paint we are using. We need a little cup. Then the color. Well, first I want to have this wraith to be black on the top, and then with a fade from green to this sick yellow transition, so that he is like glowing in the dark with this, well, I call it X-Files green. So, well, for that instance, the first color we need is a dark green, and, well, I will use here deep green in mix with some Model Air black. So we don't need much, only 2 drops of the green will do the work, plus 2 drops of black. There we go. And of course we are using acrylic color here, normal acrylic color, so we have to water it down with also 2 drops of water. So let's mix that up, and there we have a nice dark green color for our first spray. So load up the airbrush. Bloop. There we go. And now we will spray. First a little test spray here on a paper towel. Yeah, that's good. So I will start at here with this green layer. You will probably not be able to see it right now because of the dark green, but you will see it when we go with brighter colors. So. Oh, and by the way, the sound you hear in the background, that is my compressor. I hope this airbrush and compressor sound is not too loud for you. So. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I will clean up the airbrush now, and I'll be back in a second. And I am back. The next step will be to brighten this rest green we have here a little bit up, and for that we will put in 2 drops of Model Air yellow. Oh, there were 3 drops, but it doesn't matter. Into the mix. Okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Just to be sure, another drop of water into it. Better too watery than too thick. Too thick, not too thick. I don't have thick colors. Okay, let's go for the second layer then. There we go. Let's zoom in for you a little bit. So, okay. Yeah, that's nice. always be in motion with your airbrush. Don't stick too long at one spot. Otherwise you get real ugly spots when airbrushing, and you don't want to, that's thank you. Increase the tone by going over a second time. That looks nice on this one. Okay, that's it for this part. Again, cleaning the brush, and be back in a second. Now it's time for the last part of the airbrush work, and now we take the yellow-green. Okay. And also we will be thinning that down, like usual, because normal acrylic color is too thick to go through the airbrush and need to be watered down. So yeah, that's a real nasty and nice color. Loading up the airbrush again, and there we go. So there you see, you get a real nice fading with the airbrush. Something you could never achieve with a normal brush. Very slightly. Okay, this needs to dry now, because the color was a little bit too watery and there was a little bit too long on the spot here at the corner. You can see that, but that doesn't matter. Be right back in a second. So, after a little blow with my hair dryer, it is now dry and ready to go over it again with the airbrush to fade away this little mistake. There we go. Very lovely. Okay, and that's it. More here. There we go. Okay. This is the airbrush work. I will clean out the airbrush now, again, and then we will start with the brush work. be back in a second. Enough airbrushing for today, back to our normal skills. What I will do first is use Cairn Brown foundation paint to give a nice base coat on the bone parts. And the war scythe that he's holding. Quite easy paint job. Just paint it on. But be careful not to hit the airbrushed surface, because to correct that would be quite hard. I'll be back in a second. After that is done, I'll use a 50-50 mix out of Cairn Brown and bleached bone for all the bone parts to highlight them. Just slightly going over the parts, leaving a little bit of the brown behind as a shadow, and, well, highlighting all the parts. Just slightly going with the flat side of the brush over the bones here to highlight them. I'll finish that and be right back. What I will do now is use almost pure bleached bone to highlight the bones even more. I say almost because, well, I took the brush, put up the bleached bone, put it on the palette without washing the brush, so it is almost pure. Just go slightly over the parts and highlight the top parts. So, like that. And now I will put a tiny drop of white into the color to highlight it even more. There's a little thing at the top of my brush, that's not good. So, oops, sorry, I'm out of focus. With that I will highlight the most exposed parts of the bone. Like that. So. And the bone parts are almost done. What I will do now is take Vallejo's Lavado Sepia, this one here, one drop on the palette. I will water it down with 1 drop water, and then I will go over the bone with it to fade the colors a little bit. I don't want to create shadows here very much, I just want to increase the color transition of these colors. So, this needs to dry now, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, now it's time for this little thing going around the cloak, and for that instance I use now Scorch Brown, just simply painting it on. And also being careful not to hit the cloak with the airbrush work on it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay. Next step will be our give texture to the war scythe, and for that instance I'll darken down the Scotch brown with 50-50 mix with Chaos Black. And then with a sharp pointy edge I will now paint in fine lines through the war scythe, so it looks like wooden texture. You could also do it other way around, so paint it first in dark and do this stripes and strokes with brighter color, but I figured out that, well, it is easier to paint a dark color with fine lines than paint a bright color in fine lines. So this is just the easier way. And also keep the color nice and moist so you can get a real nice tone. I will finish that up and be right back. Okay, the war scythe is now wooden, and next thing we will highlight the Scotch brown here with terracotta, 50-50 mix with Scotch brown and terracotta. And I will hit the sides and make a nice edge highlighting. Very quick and very easy. Zip. There we go. On the other side, we do the same. Just paint a nice and fine line. So, okay. Now these little bolts we will paint in dwarf bronze. Just use the tip of the brush. Ah, damn it. I painted over it. But that's okay. Painting mistakes we can always fix. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I hate painting those bolts. So, fix now the mistakes. I made with a nice and pointy brush. Again with a little bit scorched brown. See, even I make painting mistakes, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. Like Bob Ross always says, we don't make painting mistakes, we have just happy accidents. Okay, there we go. Now let's go for the last two details, the eyes and the blade. For the eyes, I take now yellow-green for this nice evil glow. Too much color on the brush. There we go. Paint the inside. Damn it. Right back. Sorry guys, I just had to make an operation on my brush because one hair was disturbing, and so I had to cut it off. But now back to the eye. There we go. So, and there we have a nice dark and evil glow to the eyes. So, now for the blade. This is also quite easy. I use my dark steel mix of both gunmetal and chaos black and paint the metal parts of it. So yeah, that's okay. I'll let that dry now and be right back in a second. The good thing about pigments on a palette is that you can always reuse them. Just add water or alcohol and they are good to go. Here, this palette you may remember from my How to Paint a Manoth Warjack video, and here I reactivate the pigments. First I use this dark burnt umber pigments, and I will go over the scythe completely with it. Make it real dark brown and nasty. Like that. After that I use my rusty orangey pigments, burnt sienna, and dab in also some rusty dots. Okay. And then I will use a blister sponge, make him a little bit wet, and then I tap a little bit here on the rusty surface. To smooch things out. So, that's nice. So, and for those of you that like the original picture with some blues also in it, that's also very easy. Just use blue-green or hawk turquoise. Take a little bit on your palette and water it quite down. So, like that. And then you just simply paint in some of the blue. That was too watery, so that's better. So, like that. And there you go. So, the wraith is finished now. Only thing left to do is the base. I will do this off camera and show you the finished model. Okay, there we have him in his full glory. I hope you liked this little tutorial, and we see us in the next video. Yeah, Alexandra.